Hey everyone, Sheila here from Life for Pets. So the day has finally arrived that we are going to try and breed these two. We have Bandit, who is the male, who is loose in the tank, and then we have Daffy, who is our female, and we're hoping that these two are going to spawn. They are both first-time parents, and this is our very first time breeding betta fish as well, so I'm hoping it's going to go okay. I do want to give a huge shout out to Kasha from Creative Pet Keeping and Amber from Big City Bettas. Both of them have been a great help. They've answered a lot of questions I've had, and they have just sort of seen me through this whole process, so big shout out to them, and I will leave the links to their channels in the description box below. So we did decide to go with a more natural setup for the breeding tank. It is a 10-gallon tank, and you'll just have to forgive the snail trails above the waterline. They must have gone up there overnight or something, I'm not quite sure. We've put guppy grass in the tank. There is also the rock plant shelf at the back there, and that has got Java moss on, and then we've got the spiderwood and Anubias, and obviously the almond leaf in the bottom. So that is what is making the water look a bit like a tea colour, because it's releasing the tannins, which is really good for your fish. So we did leave Daffy in this breeder box for, I think it was 2 to 3 days. We fed her really well with bloodworms, and she got a lot of bloodworms during that time. We did also feed him as well, and he just did a great job building a bubble nest. For the bubble nest, I did do some research on that and all the different things that people use, and I did find that in a lot of the research I did, most people seem to have a really good rate of success with using bubble wrap, and so that's what we decided to do. So I have just taped it to the sides of the tank, and I did also put some of the floating plant frog bit underneath there as well, again just to make it a little more natural. And I have to say, as soon as we put that bubble wrap in, he just started building a bubble nest straight away. He's also built one sort of to the side of it, and so it's built all the way underneath and to the side of it. The bubble wrap does actually float really well even without taping it to the sides, but I did decide that I wanted it to obviously stay in one place and stay really secure. We just used sticky tape, and it hasn't moved at this point. They seem to do really well in the same tank together. He would sort of occasionally dash over to her, he'd do a lot of flaring, and she wasn't in the least bit bothered, which obviously is a really good sign, because you don't want them all stressed out and upset. And I did decide to put her fairly close to the bubble nest just so that they could see each other at all times, and she was just, every time he'd go over, she was just not bothered at all. The problem with her and her colouring was I couldn't really tell if she got her breeding stripes, so I basically had to gauge it on how big she was getting sort of underneath with the eggs. And once I thought that, she was there and ready to go, then we did actually release her into the tank. Before actually putting her into this tank, we did spend a week really feeding her up with a lot of high protein foods, particularly bloodworms, and you really need to do that before adding them into a breeding tank. You need to have them conditioned right so that they are ready to actually breed. I did really like this breeder box, although it is a little on the small side. I like the fact that it did have the holes for the water to flow through it, so I didn't have to worry about having to change the water out. Also, the suction cups on it were very, very good as well, so that obviously is very important, because you don't want it falling off into the water and them getting released before you actually want that to happen. Now, you can actually just put a male and female straight into a tank, obviously as long as they are ready to breed. Some breeders do that, but with me not having done breeding before, and I would say I'm very inexperienced at this, then obviously I just didn't want to do that. I wanted to play it on the safe side, and that is why we put her in a breeding box. So this is the first attempt at putting them together, and yes, I did say first attempt. what happened was we did put them together, and as you can see, they got on really well. We had no chasing, no aggression. It was absolutely just amazing to watch. What I actually did was set the camera up in front of the tank, and then I did just leave it running because obviously I didn't want to upset them with keep going backwards and forwards. But I did eventually actually put a chair a good way back and just sit and watch them for a while, because I just found the whole process amazing to watch. And also I was really nervous about them maybe beating each other up, because I've heard so many stories of the aggression and how bad it is, and I am sure in some cases it really is that bad. However, with these two, they were getting on so well, and this behaviour and him wrapping around it went on all morning. It went on for hours and hours and hours, and there was just no aggression whatsoever. However, I did notice that she was just not releasing any eggs at all, and eventually they did start to get very aggressive, and he was just going crazy chasing around the tank, and she became very scared. So at that point I did actually take her out, and she went back into the breeder box, and we decided that maybe she needed a few more days. So at that point what we did is we moved the breeder box to the far end of the tank, and we just left it in there. I fed her up some more. I also messaged Amber from Big City Bettas and told her what was going on, and she said just give it a few more days and then try releasing her again. And so that is what we did. And the second time we released, again we got all the same behavior. They were just amazing together, and they just bred for the whole morning again with no aggression whatsoever. It was just amazing to watch. And eventually, after I think probably about an hour of them sort of dancing around each other and doing their thing, eventually they did spawn, and I started to see the eggs drop, which was just amazing. I was really concerned at first because he just kept collecting the eggs, and so I thought he was actually eating them, because he would go chasing down after the eggs and then he would then eat them all up, or so I thought, like he's doing now. And he didn't go up to the nest with them, and I'm thinking, oh no, first time dad, he's eating the eggs. But it turned out that he was actually just collecting them in his mouth, and they can actually hold quite a lot in their mouths at one time, and then eventually they go and spit them into the nest. So thankfully he wasn't eating them, he was doing his job, he was just holding them for a while in his mouth before putting them into the nest. Now when they do the breeding process, because the female very often will go upside down, then it does take her a few minutes just to sort of get herself back to normal, and so them lying looking like they're dead is perfectly normal. And thankfully the male doesn't pay any attention to her when she's like that. She's obviously no threat to him, and so he just allows her to get herself back to normal, and then they go through the whole process again. So this has been an incredible thing to see, and just watching the behavior and how they go about the process, absolutely amazing. It was quite an experience to watch, and I'm so glad that I got it on camera. I was so concerned that we wouldn't get to see it, but the two of them were just sort of so open about it and just got on with their thing. Just didn't seem to care that the camera was there. The female didn't seem to particularly gather any eggs at all. He seemed to do all of that. I did just once, I think it was, see her actually catch some and take them up to the nest, but otherwise he was the one that did all of the work, going around catching them all and putting them up into the nest. And occasionally they did seem to knock some down as well, and again he'd catch them and put them back up there. So once they were done breeding, it was interesting seeing how things changed very quickly in the tank. He suddenly became very aggressive and territorial, and thankfully I was around that I was able to just get her out of there, and she is now in a temporary setup where we're just feeding her up again, because obviously, you know, this is a big deal when you breed them, and so they do need a lot of TLC once it's all happened and done. Now Now Dad is in charge of the nest at this point, and so far he is doing a really good job. Every time an egg drops down out of the nest, he catches it and he takes it and he puts it back up, and that again is just an incredible thing to see, that he is on duty 24/7. I didn't actually know not to turn the lights off, and then several people were saying no, you need to leave the lights on so that he doesn't miss any eggs that fall. So this poor guy is now on duty 24/7. He's going to be really tired when he is done with his job. We did get some evaporation in the tank, and so the bubble nest did actually start to rise up a little. Well, the water level went lower, which then meant there was a big gap, and then the sticky tape was on and the bubble wrap was like riding up the tank. So I just very gently added some more water to the tank. Obviously I made sure it was the correct temperature and also treated the water, and then I just very slowly added it to the tank, and it doesn't seem to have done any harm whatsoever. So guys, I guess now we are going to have to wait. I have got no idea how many eggs are up there. To me it doesn't actually look like that many, but it's very difficult to see them. I did try and get a shot of them, but they just do not show at all. But I will put some footage here and see if you can figure out where they are, and I guess now we're just going to have to wait, and time will tell if we've got babies or not. We do have a sponge filter in the back of the tank, and we have it barely running. The tank is only filled about halfway so that it's easier if any babies do drop for him to get them. Also, once they hatch, if they go all the way down to the bottom, then it is a lot harder for them to get to the top, and they need to be able to. The sponge filter is running, but only barely, so that it does keep the bacteria alive in the sponge. We do have the tank set at about 82 to 83 degrees, and that temperature is holding very stable. So far it's all going really well. They made excellent first time parents, and as for me, I was stressed out through the whole thing, but they just did an amazing job. So hopefully it will all go well and they will hatch and we will have some baby bettas. Okay guys, that's it for this video. I challenge you, I am sure I have said amazing and incredible about 20 times, so I challenge you to let me know in the comments box below how many times I said it in this video. Alright guys, thanks for watching. If you're not subscribed to this channel and would like to see more videos like this, and of course see the baby bettas, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to know when we upload a new video. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.